Have you ever pondered how a fleeting act of compassion can transform a person's life? Let's paint a picture. A few years prior, a bustling airport terminal was the stage for an unexpected event. A diverse group salesman, constantly traveling and always in a rush, had a flight to catch. They were a lively bunch, jovial in nature, sharing stories of their recent adventures. In their haste, they found themselves rushing through the terminal's expansive corridors, darting past families, solo travelers, and airport employees. Unintentionally, amidst their rush, they collided with a young girl's apple stand. Apples, plucked fresh from the orchard and arranged neatly in a pyramid, rolled away in every direction. The terminal echoed with the clattering sounds of the fallen fruit. The salesmen continued on their way, eyes focused on the departure board, unaware of the mess they left behind. They were driven by the fear of missing their flight, the fear of being late for their next meeting, the fear of not meeting their sales target. All of them hurried off, all except one. In the midst of the rush, one salesman paused. He took a deep breath, slowing his pace amidst the frenzied atmosphere. He assessed the situation, his heart heavy with the sight of the toppled apple stand and the distressed young girl. Compassion flooded his heart, drowning out the noise of his rushing colleagues and his own worries. Choosing empathy over convenience, he bid his friends farewell, asked them to convey a message to his wife about his unexpected delay, and then turned his steps back towards the chaos. The panorama that met his eyes as he returned was a curious blend of relief and sorrow. There in the heart of the bustling market, he found a young girl who was obviously blind. She was groping around frantically, her fingers desperately raking the floor in search of the apples that had once been neatly arranged on a table. Tear tracks stained her pale cheeks, evidence of her silent struggle, while the throng of people around her continued their activities, oblivious to her plight. It was a sight that tugged cruelly at his heartstrings. Without a second thought, he moved toward her, his strides cutting through the sea of humanity. He dropped to his knees next to her, his fingers swiftly collecting the strewn apples from the dusty floor. He set about fixing the overturned table, meticulously arranging everything back to its original state. As he picked up each apple, he noticed the marred skin, the damaging bruises that were a result of the unfortunate incident. He carefully segregated these damaged fruits, setting them aside in a separate basket. His work done, he reached into his pocket, his fingers closing around the familiar texture of his wallet. He took out $40 and handed it to the young girl, a small compensation for the damage that had been inflicted her merchandise. His voice was filled with genuine concern as he asked her if she was all right, and expressed his deep regret for the inconvenience caused. Just as he was about to leave, the blind girl called out, "Mister!" His steps faltered, and his forward momentum ceased abruptly. He stilled completely, the cool air of the room seeming to wrap around him like a sudden, surprising chill. He slowly pivoted on his heel, his shoes making a soft squeaking noise on the polished marble floor. The young girl, innocent and unknowing, waited patiently for his response. Her sightless eyes were unfocused but radiant, the softest shade of azure. His heart clenched at the sight. "Mister," she called out again, her voice coaxing from his stupor. It was the simplest of words, yet it held such profound depth within. The innocence, the trust, the pure faith laced in that single was enough to make a grown man's heart falter. She asked, her voice small and unsure, "Are you Jesus?" That question, that innocent and startling question, stopped him in his tracks. He could only stare at her, his throat dry. He was taken aback, deeply moved by her words. He felt a lump forming in his throat, his heart pounding against his ribcage. The world around him seemed to blur into a meaningless landscape. The only thing that mattered was innocence that stood before him. His mind was whirling, but he could find no words to respond. Could he ever possibly live up to such a question, he pondered, as he slowly started to move away. He could hear the soft patter of her feet behind him as he walked towards the large, imposing doors of the airport terminal. His heart was heavy, his mind clouded with thoughts and emotions. As he walked towards his later flight, that question echoed in his mind. Are you Jesus? In our bustling lives, we often underestimate the power of a small act of kindness. These acts may seem trivial, but their impact is far from it. Such gestures can be as simple as sharing a warm smile, a gentle word, or lending a helping hand in a time of need. Each of these, seemingly small actions, carry with them a tide of positivity that has the potential to touch lives. In our daily rush, it's easy to overlook these opportunities for kindness. We get so engrossed in our own lives, challenges, and routines that we fail to notice the people around us and their struggles. But it's these moments, these instances of compassion and understanding, that truly have the power to change lives. Consider a scenario where you notice someone struggling with their heavy bags. A simple act, such as offering to help carry their load, can be the of sunshine they needed on a particularly gloomy day. It's a small action, but the effect is monumental. It has the potential to lift someone's spirits, to lighten their burden, and perhaps to change their entire perspective towards life. In the grand scheme of things, it's the seemingly insignificant actions that can make the most significant difference. Acts weave together to form a tapestry of kindness, compassion, and understanding that has the potential to uplift and transform society as a whole. This story is a testament to that. It beautifully illustrates that our deeds, no matter how small, can leave a profound impact on others. It urges us to choose kindness at every opportunity. So, when given a chance, always choose kindness, for you never know whose life you might touch or change forever.